What's up, everyone? I'm Thomas J. Bellezza, and welcome to another episode of The Right Mindset. Today, we are going to go over the sixth step in writing your script, which is taking a break and coming back with fresh eyes. That's right. Breaks are just as important as consistently working. But how long should you take a break for, and why is it beneficial? That's what we'll go over today, while also throwing in some ways you can improve your script after the break is completed. That's right. So here it is. It's time to develop the right mindset. Okay, so today's lesson is going to be going over how to take a break, which is the sixth step of writing a script. Now, for anyone who's new here or you've been here for a while and you haven't really made that commitment to subscribe to the channel and you like the video at the end of the presentation, please comment, and let me know your feelings while subscribing and hitting the bell icon so you don't miss out. Let's get right to it. Take that break. Your brain has spent whatever amount of time working on your first draft. You need to give your brain a chance to recharge before you push through to the next step. But how long should you step away from your script? Won't you forget things or lose that steam? Well, any of those things are possible, but the benefits are gained through habit-building actions. Plus, it's kind of the point to forget things and detach yourself emotionally. You never want to burn out your brain when being creative. You just spent this time writing and developing your story from characters, motivations, outlines, plots, and subplots. Then you dove into the first draft, which benefited from the total immersion of everything. Now that you've pushed your brain, it's time to take time off to recharge and reevaluate the story before jumping into the next step. I know you might want to keep going, but put the script to the side and show your mind, body, and spirit some love. This is not a sprint, it's a distance run. Take your time, as all great scripts have seen the depth of time spread over years and years and years. The goal of a break, is to come back almost completely refreshed with your eyes ready to look deeper with renewed creative energy. See, if you keep going, your eyes are going to be filled with bias. You already have spent so much time on the project that you know it inside and out. Each line you read will feel like a recap and less of a dissection. An unbiased approach comes from fresh eyes looking at the story, specifically your story. It's better to have almost forgotten what you know about the story than it is to sit there and just continue the process where you're already immersed in it and you're like, I know where this story is going. This makes sense because I know it. I know where it's leading, so it makes sense to me. It's this way. Then if you don't take this break, right, when you are reading it and getting ready to take notes for the next draft, you now have to really think about it. And that's what forgetting the script and at least in part some of what the script is about and where it's going, because now you get to look at it and dissect it in a way that doesn't have a preconceived understanding of it, right? Now, you should try and give your script a minimum of about 2 weeks before touching it and thinking about it again. However, I've walked away from a script for up to 1 to 2 months. Taika Waititi has gone on record saying he's walked away from his first draft for up to 2 years. He came back, he would read it a few times, then he would throw it out and write the script again based on what he remembered and how the story felt with new eyes. The point of taking a break is to get to where the story has faded and a little bit in your mind, thus allowing for the fresh eyes to look upon it. Basically, what I'm saying is you want to be away from the script long enough to not know your script clear enough. There you go. As an aside, you don't have to take a break from writing. Just take a break from writing and working on that specific piece. You can take a break from writing, but it's okay if you keep writing other things or finally work on a project you've been holding off. So the idea is to take a break from a project, but it doesn't mean to take a break from your passion, which is writing. So, you might have a secondary story you want to work on. So it doesn't matter if you give a little something, give a little work, make a little noise, get down tonight. Liquid. I don't know what it is, my sore throat is something. I don't know, the cold air. All right, here we go. What you shouldn't do on your return. Cling to your first draft. You never want to cling to your first draft. It's not unheard of for a writer to fall in love with their original vision. You're allowed to try things. And trust me, your script needs work. Everybody's script needs work, even professionals and experts and people who have been in the business forever. Name how many professional writers don't have their scripts overhauled, their second, third, and 10th drafts later. Script writing is a process that takes many drafts. To get the most out of your draft, you need to know that when you get back to the first draft, you're going to want to grow as a writer, and therefore, this means cutting things up, changing things around, and playing with the pace of the script. Another thing what you shouldn't do on your return, the story is more important. All right. The rule is when it comes to writing a script, the story is more important than the script you wrote. You have to analyze the script in a way that shows you it might be time to do the thing us writers all hate, cut scenes from the narrative. More accurately, you want to cut a scene or scenes that don't help further your narrative. Okay? This comes down to that phrase, kill your babies. But another phrase that I recently heard during one of our interviews that I did on the Right Mindset podcast with another author is, it's a diamond in the rough. Your first script is a diamond in the rough, and now you have to kind of cut it up and mold it and really shape that diamond until it's worth something of value. So it's good to get those right cuts out to make the diamond shine the most, okay? You're going to have scenes you love in the script, and I promise you on that. It happens to all of us. We just fall in love with moments, You're going to have jokes you love, character moments you wrote, character moments that you wrote in the script that you actually wrote the script around. You were like, it would be a great moment. This moment, I'm going to write a script based on that moment. And you know what? At the end of the day, if that moment doesn't work for the story, maybe you got to take it out of the script, because it's not about those awesome moments. It's about the story itself and the screenplay. Other things are visual masterpieces that gets you every time, meaning like you foresee a shot and you're like, this will be such a great shot, but is this shot taking away from the story, or is it adding to the story? Okay. The thing is this: if the scene doesn't help further the narrative, or it disrupts the flow of the plot, or is a distraction from the pace, you have to cut it out, or at minimum, rework it. In writing, we have a lot of freedom, but in the end, you never want your story to suffer because you can't let things go. A scene needs to have a specific purpose that drives the narrative forward. How it drives the narrative forward is also very important, but overall, it must always reveal and push the plot forward. Everything else is adding color to the canvas, like a character's personality, character growth, subplots, etc. And the thing is, you can say what you need to say that drives the plot forward in the voices of the character. There is a difference between a character just talking about soda, this Diet Pepsi Wild Cherry. It's always been my favorite flavor. Anyway, are we still going to see Marge at the Jinjiang restaurant or whatever? XYZ restaurant. There's a lot of fat in that moment. We don't need to know that I like soda unless that comes up later and really fulfills something. However, again, even if I'm like, hey, we going to XYZ restaurant, I hope they have soda, like that better come up in the story. Or why are we talking about it? And that's what it means. It just means like whatever you're going to have said and done in the story should have purpose, but you can say it in the character's voice. you know? Okay. In writing, as I said, oh, by the way, a good rule of thumb when it comes to a scene being cut is to break the scene down. What is the scene's purpose? Does it help the specific narrative get to where it needs to go? Is this for me or the story? Basically, is this moment for the I wrote this for me, or does this help the story? You should figure out more questions on your own. After all, it is your story, and you should kind of be finding ways to ask and evaluate your story. Another thing that you shouldn't do on your return is what they say should say something. Okay, what you shouldn't do on your return. What they say should say something, and what this means is the dialogue is going to dialogue unless it's not dialoguing enough. And what that means is in the beginning, screenwriters usually struggle with the largest chunk of script, which is dialogue. This is a visual medium, and you don't need paragraphs of dialogue to tell your story. You need the medium that you're working within to help you tell your story. Imagine you had a character that really loves another character. You don't want the dialogue to be this character talking to their friends about how much they love that other character. Actions, in a visual medium especially, speak louder than words, and sometimes you can say so much more with so much less. Marlon Brando was notorious for this. He would take literally a page of dialogue and turn it into a few movements, or and just break it down to almost no dialogue. He's very good at that. So this is why cutting unnecessary verbiage, diarrhea, to benefit your story will create actionable visuals for the storytelling to pop and to bring the story to life. Besides, it is much more engaging to feel like you're experiencing the journey of a character than being told the character's experience. What you shouldn't do on your return? Well, remember, it's not a race, it's pace. Pacing is not always apparent when you're writing your first draft, because it should just be a draft of thoughts and ideas and just getting everything onto the page, right? So when you finally get back and read your script a few times, yes, a few times, you will most likely realize there needs to be some changes. And these changes come in the shape of rearranging scenes, trimming off the fat, and the pacing works for your genre or film. And basically, you're looking for what pacing works for your story, what pacing works for your genre, things like that. What kind of style of film are you going for? Fun tip about trimming the fat. Sometimes it's about cutting the introduction of a scene. Other times the scene drags on a bit longer than it needs. Then there is the let's get to the meat and potatoes of the scene. Where is the action of the scene happening? Action isn't always physical movement, but movement of the scene and emotional depth. Do you need to see the person enter the apartment? Probably not. Do you need to see them leave the apartment to go to work? Probably not. How can you begin the scene right before the good stuff happens? These are things you should be asking yourself. And remember to keep in mind that the emotional elements of a scene can affect the pacing too. Slower scenes next to aggressive scenes, or too many slow scenes next to each other, could bring the script down. Think of your script like a song. You want it to move you through the melody and keep you going with its ever-changing musical themes. And sometimes it's a matter of moving a scene to a different spot to help keep the script breathing with a steady and natural movement. Okay. Final thoughts. Making some soda in there. 3 things to take away from this lesson. Number 1, stepping away from your script is healthy for your mind so you can step back a bit from the intimacy of knowing your story. Coming back to it after a break of time will give you fresh eyes so you can have a new peek into your work. 2, you are absolutely allowed to still work on your projects, write and even not write, while you are taking a break from your finished first draft. And 3, in the end, prepare your mind to be ready for the editing process and what you will have to A, look for when you get back, B, emotionally prepare to dissect your script, and C, detach yourself from the product as if you are looking at someone else's work. Ultimately, your script will benefit from some time off as much as you will benefit from it. You are not expected to write a screenplay in a weekend, even though Sylvester Stallone did so with Rocky, who, by the way, knew the first draft was crap, as per his words in interviews, and had to put a lot of work into that first draft to make it what it was, which is a hit. You're not here to write faster than other writers or to try to prove anything by how fast you write. You are better off writing at your own pace for the beauty of writing the story you want to tell. All right. In the next video in this series will be the 7th part of writing a script. We have finally made it to the rewrite and second draft. In that lesson, we'll explore what you should be trying to accomplish with a second draft and how to get the most out of your rewrite. Question: if you could speak with one writer who will give you their time and talk with you about the writing process and story development, who would it be and why? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you want to learn a little bit more about improving your craft, some insight to the industry, and hearing from other authors like yourself, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out. Other than that, we're done for today. So as always, keep developing the right mindset. Thank you so very much for supporting the channel. I love you all. Bye.